Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to Monday, April 1st, Town Board meeting and public hearing. Prior to tonight's pledge, I would ask that we all speak the pledge at the same tone and not raise our voices at any point during it, because I find it disrespectful, as does the rest of the board. And that's a suggestion, gentlemen, please. Thank you. So can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. Okay. So we have a public hearing notice which was proposed amending Chapter 35 of the Town Code regarding peddling and soliciting. So I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing for the proposed amendment of Chapter 35 of the Town Code regarding peddling and soliciting.
And I will second that motion.
No, you have to make the motion.
No, I made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion?
Yeah.
Then I will second the motion.
Councilwoman Bingham?
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Did anyone sign up for a public comment?
Sharon Shear. This is for the peddling and soliciting public hearing. No? Okay. Christina Kiesel.
Christina Kiesel, Town of Monroe.
Good evening, how are you?
Aye. Good evening.
In recent months, Monroe residents have been confronted with high-pressure real estate salespeople approaching them in their homes. Unfortunately, when a realtor has a permit and the town has no ordinances to protect the homeowners, there's nothing illegal about that activity. That's why many of our surrounding municipalities, including Blooming Grove, Chester, the Village of Monroe, and many towns in Rockland County, have been combating unwanted solicitation by establishing ordinances, also known as no-knock registries. In order to be protected by the no-knock registry, a homeowner must sign up for it and will then be included on the town's registry and will receive a sticker for their home. I enthusiastically support Monroe's efforts in creating this new town ordinance. I believe the combination of the registry, along with fines for noncompliance, is a positive step for our community. I thank Mary Ellen and the board for taking this initiative. Last year, the Village of Chestnut Ridge in Rockland County worked with the Department of State to create a cease and desist law for their municipality. Cease and desist laws provide an even greater protection for homeowners, because in addition to preventing solicitation at your home, it also prevents solicitation while out walking on your street, as well as by mail, flyers, and phone calls. I believe it would be a proactive next step for Monroe to pursue a cease and desist regulation for our town. Thank you for taking my comments into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
That's all?
That's all?
Yes.
Anyone else on the town board have any comments pertaining to it?
I think Mr. Nugent changed some of the language regarding the ages. I had a question about a child versus a student, what the age was, and I think he addressed it in the draft that we received.
Right.
Just so the board knows, I have reached out for ordering the stickers. They should be in shortly, and those residents that have signed up, we will be mailing them their stickers. It has the Town of Monroe emblem on it, and it says no-knock registry member. So the residents, I would ask, I'm not going to be too particular on telling the residents where they should put it, but somewhere on the entryway to their home or at their door, they can put it, and I will explain that in the letter. And the list, if someone does apply for a peddler's permit and is approved, their address would just be given out, no names to them, along with the code. They get that automatically when they apply, and I tell them that they have to read it, and we're going to have them sign off that they've received it. So this way they can't come back and say, well, you never told me. We're going to have them sign off that they received the code.
And we have a number of people that have signed up already, correct?
How many, yeah, that's my question.
We
How
have
many
over
people?
40 right now, and we still are we are getting them in daily. We get them in. So when the sticker comes out, maybe I'll get in touch with Bob Quinn and see if we can do an article, and again, let the residents be aware that this opportunity to sign up for it is there. This is what the sticker will look like, and get the word out more.
Good.
Something to raise
Okay.
public awareness,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the only other question I have too is about enforcement. We don't have a town police force, so if somebody comes up to the house and starts knocking on the door, I believe one of the, Councilman Cologne had said, just get a business card from them and then give it to somebody at town hall, and it would be the building inspector
Yes.
who would follow through on that
Yeah,
complaint.
the building inspector, they can call the state police and make the complaint. They can do that, and it is good for them to still do that, because it is a matter of record then. So I always tell the residents, call the police, let us know, and it is very good to find out what the company is, because I have called companies and let them know that we have a law, and if they're caught again, they will not get a peddler's permit. And anybody who is caught peddling without a permit, that's going to be brought up before the board, whether or not, if they apply, whether or not this board wants to give them the permit.
And I'm sure we could, there are civil legal penalties that we could look to.
It's in the code.
Yeah,
It's in the code.
if they
Also-
routinely violated it.
When somebody applies and we do give the permit, we give them a street map. I do outline, you can't go into the village of Monroe, into the village of Harriman, because they have their own peddling laws.
Right.
And if you do go in, I have the right to pull your peddler's permit. And I do make them aware of that.
Good.
Another question I had was also addressed to Mr. Nugent in regards to a constable. Right now, we are a town and we're allowed to have a constable, and he said it would be a board decision. And I only talked to 2 board members earlier, and it's kind of divided, so I'm just throwing that out there. If wording should be added to the law now before we adopt it or don't adopt it, to allow possibly for a constable.
I think, Mr. Nugent, if would we have to put that in the law, or if we decided sometime down the road to get a constable, or would those just be assigned duties by the town board to that individual?
Well, the law already provides an enforcement official designated by the town in
Okay.
addition to code enforcement and state police, or
Right.
any town police, if there was a department. You may want to check with your insurance company first on a constable before you create one. There are complications with doing that, and it may require a rider and additional insurance coverage if you're going to have a constable. So it's something you definitely want to explore before.
Yeah, obviously,
deciding to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we would definitely do some research on that before we went down that road, but it's certainly something that we can assign to him, or her, if we went that path, right? All right, thank you.
Yes,
May
thank you.
I just make a slight reminder that it's a slippery slope, and we were down that road once before, getting a constable, how many, how long they'll be on. I think we have to think of this very carefully before we revisit that issue once again.
I totally hear you there, Councilman Cologne, but I think we have a pretty
Well, there's a difference
level-headed,
now.
reasonable board. I don't think we're going to have 25 or 30 people.
No, I
and
don't think
spend
so, but I-
$250,000 like we did.
Right, I understand
back when
that.
to have a bunch of people running around. If we did it, obviously we'd probably just do a part-time person, start from there and see what happens. But I understand what you're saying. We don't want to
And that's why I said,
and just for, I believe when we had the public safety department, our insurance writer for those personnel was $10,000 or $11,000 at the time per year as part of the
Right,
premium.
right.
So just
yeah, added
because part of
cost.
the research when we
Also, if anyone is able to get a business card, make sure you put the date and time on it, so that serves as testimony, the date and time and where the person was. So it would be a big help as well. Or just, in fact, you can call up state police.
or save the image on your Ring camera or
Yeah,
whatever you
that's
have at
it.
your door there. And
Ring cameras are
certainly
very
use
prominent
that.
now.
When are those stickers coming out? Soon?
I should have them within 2 weeks.
Good.
Okay. Excellent job, Mary Ellen. Thank you for your efforts
Yes.
with it.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay. We need a motion to close, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need a motion to
Close
close the
it.
public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay. So, I'd like to read the resolution for, you have the resolution, council?
I don't know if it's in your packet. I think there is one, but
Yeah, hold on. The annexation's in there.
No.
No, that's here.
Hearing notice.
Was it an email?
yeah, I don't see it in the packet. I mean, I can state one for you if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great, please.
I'll just make the motion, someone can adopt it, a resolution, approving the adoption of the amendment to chapter 35 of the code, peddling and soliciting, in its form presented before the board tonight, and to authorize the town clerk to send a copy for filing with the Secretary of State.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Next item up is the public hearing notice for the Community Development Block Grant. And
There's no one signed up to speak, Supervisor?
no one signed up to speak? Okay, so let me read the notice. Notice hereby given at Town of Monroe, Orange County, New York, will meet Senior Center, 101 Mine Road, Monroe, New York, in said town on April 1st at 7:15. Prevailing time for the purpose of conducting a public hearing in relation to Community Development Block Grant. At said public hearing, Town Board will hear all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. Town of Monroe will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance or reasonable accommodation should contact the town clerk. Okay. So, wait, I made a motion to open it, right?
That would be the
No.
motion? No,
No.
that was the
That was the
reading
closing
the,
the other one.
I'll make the motion to open that
And
discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, no public comment?
There's some people that signed up, is that?
Mary Ellen?
Not for this public hearing.
Okay. So, essentially, this is for the Community Development Block Grant for the town hall. renovation. We're going to be submitting for an ADA compliance grant for everything associated with the Americans with Disability Act within and outside of the present town hall property. I have had conversations with Sean Arnott from McGooey Hauser Netzel. Amory Morris and Jen Schnars attended the meeting up at the county last week and spoke with Sean, and Sean felt it was in the best interest of the town to go in this direction for this grant. So I think it's a no-brainer with what we're doing at the town hall. And I don't know if anybody else has any comments. Okay, so I will make a motion. No, I'm gonna make a motion to approve McGooey Hauser Netzel to work on the ADA improvements required for the new town hall for the CDBG grant with Orange County.
I'll second. Colonna second.
Anyone else? No discussion? Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, so, I need a motion to close the,
Never mind, thank you.
need a motion to close the public
I'll
hearing?
make the motion.
I'll second.
Second, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Brian, should we have done the resolution before or after? It doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. A couple of announcements. First thing, the town employees and the town board, through the efforts of Patty Cash, was able to raise $450 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for a dress down for Leukemia Day. So I would like to, on behalf of the town board, thank Patty for her efforts in getting that done. She's done it, Mary Ellen, for something like 12 years?
Easy 12 years.
Easy 12 years,
Easy
so.
12 years.
So that's great. Basically, you make a donation, you get a sticker, you can dress down that day, jeans, whatever you feel comfortable in that day. So it went well. Second item is clean sweep. Once again, April 27th, we had our meeting this morning, our second to last meeting. Everything's in order. We have kind of switched around the e-recycling. Mary Ellen, since the e-recycling company said they couldn't be there that day because the date was changed from the third weekend in April to the fourth weekend in April due to Easter, they could not be there. So what Mary Ellen has done is she's reached out to the company. We're going to have 2 highway employees there who will be collecting the computers, TVs, and anything else electronic. They will bring it back to the highway department. It will be placed in a dumpster, and then the company will come up later that week to pick it up. Doing it this way, Mary Ellen brought the point up that there's probably a substantial cost savings associated with it if we do it this way versus just having to go out and paying for it.
I'm thinking it's going to be a cost savings. Also, to let the board know that I did apply for the grant for last year's money. It was a little bit over $6,000 for last year's e-recycling, so we should be getting half of that money back. They received the grant, so I'm just waiting to hear that they funded it. So I'm hoping I'll do a little bit more on it tomorrow and have a report for the board for the 15th, but I do feel we're going to save some money.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. So in addition to the cleanup and the e-recycling, they will be shredding that day from, I believe the time is 8 to 12. And it's all down at St. Anastasia Church in the morning. It's a great event. I know there's a couple of youth organizations, Boy Scouts, Monroe Woodbury, Pop Warner, and I believe Little League who were there all 3 were there last year, and they've offered their volunteer service again.
Tires?
What's that?
Tires? We're gonna do tires again or no?
No, tires are done on a separate day.
All right, just
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That was a good turnout last year, right?
Yeah,
Had
it
a
was.
couple
Yeah.
hundred
We had a
people.
big time.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good.
Could we maybe do a motion to approve for overtime for 2 highway employees for the e-recycling? This way it's done and we don't let it slip through the
Yeah,
cracks.
sure.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion that we allow for overtime for 2 highway employees to participate on Operation Clean Sweep on April 27th.
And let's clarify that so it says for the e-recycling, because we already approved 2 to be there for the
Okay.
garbage.
All right, so then I will amend that motion to say just 2 additional highway department personnel for the e-recycling.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarella, aye.
Again,
Okay. Third announcement, there's a new business in town, not in the village, in town, which is a rarity that opened this past Friday. It's called Daylight Donuts. They're located in the plaza on the same side of the street as Quick Check, and it's just to the left. It's the old, for those of us that have been up here quite some time, it's the old Hawaii East building. I've been in there. The donuts are phenomenal. And I'll tell you that I had a couple of donuts like a day and a half later, and they were still as fresh as the first day. And Vinny and Jan Briganti are wonderful people. They're local, and I think they're gonna knock it out of the park with this. So
Yeah, I was in there a couple times over the weekend.
yeah,
Lines out the door.
yeah,
They
Good.
were doing great. Yeah, it was good to
Everybody
see.
should buy
And the
local.
donuts are excellent.
yeah, exactly.
I ate a
Those
few.
are the donuts you brought in, right?
Yeah, I brought them in last week.
Yeah, that was excellent, outstanding.
Yep.
And like you said, they're good people. They really are. Good
And-
community-oriented, good
I
people.
actually went in this morning to pick up a dozen for tonight's meeting, but he's closed on Monday.
He needs a day
So,
off.
Yeah. All right. So just to clarify a situation that has come up numerous times in the last week, Orange and Rockland is installing lights on Larkin Drive. This was not something that was requested by the town board or anyone within the town. I know Highway Superintendent Cherney is trying to get an answer as to where the request came from. They're being installed in the right-of-way of the town of Monroe, which is maintained by the Highway Department. John has spoke to them, and the Operations Department has assured him that everything will be put back in the condition it was in prior to them starting the work. I don't have a clue who's paying for these, but I know it's not us, because
I was just gonna say, it's
we
not
did
us.
we did not request this, so, there's been a lot of talk on Facebook, I've been told, so I just wanted to make sure that, anybody watching the meetings knows that it was not the town board that had suggested this.
Stop typing.
With that,
Stop typing.
stop typing, yeah. Okay, last announcement, I just want everyone to know that you have probably read in the papers or saw in the news that there was a situation at Town Hall this past Thursday. There was an altercation between 3 gentlemen from the Hasidic community in KJ. The Village of Monroe Police responded admirably, as did the state police. The one gentleman did have a gun on him, and he was licensed to carry. The town has installed cameras as of Friday, and tonight we will be passing a resolution that will not allow firearms on town hall property, and I also believe we should probably look into any of the other town-owned properties. So, please refrain from yelling out. Thank you. If anyone has anything else to add to that, Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything, being the liaison with the state police.
No, listen, just they did a great, very quick response. Village Police did a really thorough investigation. The second individual turned himself in the next day that had fled the scene before the police arrived, and listen, it could have gone very bad, and unfortunately, it did not. And again, it was in large part due to the fact that we had such a quick response from the state and state police and village police. And listen, we would hope people can resolve their differences within the community in a peaceful manner instead of resorting to this type of violence. So,
Okay,
and we'll be looking at additional security measures for
Yes.
town hall as we go through our renovation to make sure that the employees are secure and safe.
absolutely. Okay, next item up is the order of claims. We have 2 checks, and I'd like to make a motion that the town board of the town of Monroe approve abstract number 19-004 in escrow containing checks 1846 through 1847 totaling $1,623.28.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I will
I'll
second.
seconded by Councilwoman Bingham. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again,
Okay, so moved. Next abstract is 19-006 from the general fund containing checks 23853 through 23916 totaling $280,868.53. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Cologne, a second.
Seconded by Councilman Cologne. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
begin, aye.
Okay. You have before you the minutes from the March 18th meeting, and we need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th.
I'll second.
Any other discussion, changes, amendments, alterations? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Begin, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, new business. Next up is Sandy Sneed from Real Term Energy, and she's here to give us a presentation on the conversion of our town lights from sodium to LED. And just to give some background here, I've had a couple of meetings with Sandy and some phone conversations. We have provided her with our inventory of the lights. We actually had some good conversation, as did Mary,
Yep.
at the Association of Towns meeting last week with Sandy. So I will tell you that the village of and the town of Warwick, and Michael Sweeten and I have conversed on this. I think he's an excellent source as far as vetting goes. And they just signed a contract with the town of Warwick. Michael has offered to provide me with some of the other proposals he got, which I will take a look at. But I think once you hear Sandy's presentation, you'll see what an unbelievable presentation and proposal it is. So without any further ado, I'm sorry.
Thank you all. Again, Sandy Stead. They call me an energy specialist. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, just
Okay. So basically, as Tony had said, we're working with Florida, the Village of Florida, and the town of Monroe here in Orange County, and the town of Monroe, the
Warwick.
town of Warwick.
Warwick.
So Michael Sweeten did put us through. He does his due diligence very, very well. And I think a lot of it was cost compared to some of the other state agency that's out there and some other companies. And he kept thinking, why is your cost lower than what the other proposals were, and what am I not seeing here? So he ultimately found that, it was all, we have done over 200 installs. We work only for municipalities. That's what our company does. It's all due to this merging market that started about 4 years ago, where the utility sells that massed arm. And really what it boils down to is utility still owns the pole. There's a line of fuse, which is the demarcation line, and then the municipality takes over the arm and installs an LED light, and also you need to have the process and procedure of the installer coming in. Real Term Energy does all of the work in-house with their engineering department. We project manage the install. The only thing we don't do is install the lights ourselves, and that's because so many municipalities, there's so many different restrictions and conditions with the utility that it's best to, bid it out to installers that are nearby, and many you're familiar with. So what I've done here, to go a little bit quickly, the proposal that you have on your desks is almost 30-some pages. So the pertinent information is going to be the cost and some of the specific procedures of how we do things. So I've got this PowerPoint presentation, which I believe everyone can see. And the first thing that I'm sure you're interested in is the estimated savings. So if you look down to the total street light expenditures, and as Tony said, this is all based on your current inventory as per Orange and Rockland. It's what you're being billed for, and the most current bill. So these are your costs. There are tariffs, costs involved in the bill. We basically just took the wattage and what the wattage reduction would be. The tariffs will definitely be added to the cost savings that you have, but it's so compelling to just do the wattage. And at this point, this is not an investment grade audit. We might be off by a couple of percent as far as the numbers, but this was based on current inventory, but we still have to reconcile that with Orange and Rockland. You may be being billed for some streetlights that you don't even have. Could be the other way, but probably not. and it wouldn't be that many. So if you look at the total street light expenditures, and all of this is in your proposal. I'm sorry, I should have probably brought the different pages that this would be on.
We're on page 6.
Yeah, page 6. So, but the most important thing that I think you wanted to see would be the baseline of $67,497,000. Your post-acquisition costs are of LED upgrade expenditures are going to be $14,887 annually. So you're saving $52,630,000 per year, which is 78%.
Yeah, and that's just in the electric costs.
That's just the electric costs. That's just for your light fixtures. That's what you're being billed for right now. So
Right.
according to that calculation. So that's really, what everybody does want to see. How do we get to that? Again, we took the current bill and we took the amount of fixtures and the wattage. So we took each street light with the inventory gives us a wattage, and we've come up with a proposed recommendation at this point, wattage-wise, to achieve these numbers. So now if we go down to the next slide, Valerie, the project costs, number of fixtures are 324 as far as
Page
the
9.
inventory.
I'm just telling the board, we're on page 9.
Page 9.
Oh, page 9. Okay, thank you. And so, yeah, with your, so
Just making sure.
one of the things we have to do, and we're going to assist you with this, you have to acquire these lights from Orange and Rockland. So right now, the acquisition offer that they have, you haven't received it, right, Tony? We've just put in for that acquisition
Yeah, we
offer.
haven't refused.
So we don't know exactly what what the price is going to be. But based on the general area, Rockland County and Orange County, we're looking at about $350 per fixture that they're going to sell you that arm.
And that doesn't include the pole.
The pole will never be included. The pole will remain with Orange and Rockland. They will always own that pole. And I know you're going to have some questions about what happens when
Right.
the pole gets knocked down and whatnot, and I'll answer all of that. But you will have, so where that fuse is, all of our lights are top-tier light manufacturers, so your Cree, Philips, GE. You will choose, we'll work with you to choose the most appropriate light for, this municipality. And there'll be several conditions, and I'll go into that a little bit further. So the important thing is to know that you will never be charged beyond that fuse, the line of demarcation. That's yours to pay, the arm, and they will absorb any electricity to the pole. So we're looking at an LED lighting upgrade project cost of about, what is that? I can't read it. It's about $137,930. Your acquisition.
Stay on the microphone, please.
Your acquisition estimated cost is $97,200. And that's what we're figuring at $350 per light that Orange and Rockland is going to charge you. It could be a little bit less. You could at some point negotiate with them when you do get that actual letter, but they're not negotiating. It's take it or leave it at this point. That's what we found out with the other municipalities. And the cost of delay, because it will take months to negotiate, it's going to dig into your savings. You don't want that to happen. So the total project cost $235,130. Is that what that is? And then the incentives, you should receive an incentive from Orange and Rockland post-install for about
$600.
Yeah. And then, so the net project cost of $226,533 gives you a payback period of about 4.1 years. So, it's very attractive. We offer and we'll work with a municipal leasing company, and everything can be financed, including the acquisition. So it's basically, we say no out-of-pocket costs, but there will be some minor, say the first payment, because we'll start doing some work and then we request to be paid accordingly. So if we do an audit and maybe 2 months of work before the municipal lease comes in, we'll come up with what those numbers might be to start, so can pay our guys who've been out there working. But as soon as the lease kicks in, you're going to get that money back. So it really is no out-of-pocket cost. Okay, if you want to go to the, and then this just gives the experience that we've with the turnkey conversions, and you can read all of that. 250 municipalities in the Northeast. Our engineering department is out of Montreal, and the reason that is because they had the company won a combined bid for all the municipalities in Montreal and Ontario. I think there were 100 and some municipalities. The World Bank recognized the way we had done this is, and the point is that the engineering department started in Montreal. So we're so pleased with everyone up there that that's where that type of work will be done. The company is an American. It's a division of Real Term Energy out of Annapolis, Maryland, and it's a large real estate holdings company. They own many cargo units at the airport. So again, reading down that over 150,000 fixtures installed, working with 10 municipalities in New York State, which we're quite proud of since last year, April, when I was first hired by them. So, okay, Valerie. And then the turnkey services, just to follow it, first thing is the GIS audit. We come out and we look at every light according to your inventory. We go to every section and we start collecting data. And that is some of the intersections. We know that you're going to have more illumination you'll want there. And we have to get exactly, just because the Excel spreadsheet said there's certain light, certain wattage at a cross section, we're going to verify that. And so next would be your street light acquisition. Tony's already got that started because they've requested the letter from Orange and Rockland to give you the pricing. And there's a time limit once you get that pricing. If you want to move forward with a contract, then Orange and Rockland, well, they have 3 months to get you this acquisition cost. And then once you accept it and you go into contract with them to accept that, at the same time, we're going to reconcile with our audit. It's the exact number of fixtures, so you're not buying more than you have. And then the Public Service Commission has 6 months to approve that acquisition. Bless you, sir. In the meantime, we're going to be doing work so that at the time that the acquisition is all approved, your contract goes into buying, we can start installing the lights. The work we'll be doing in the meantime, we'll go procurement. We'll do all the bidding for you. You don't have to. Any costs are all included in this proposal, and you don't have to spend the time in the procurement bid process. Photometric design, we're going to do quite an extensive photometric design so that your lights it's not only the illumination, the safety features, taking into consideration what areas you might want less lighting out, around the town, the stores. If there's some bars area, parks, you might want a little bit less in the surrounding areas. And then installation, full commissioning, and now we also offer a maintenance program, and that comes up a lot because, well, what's going to happen, and I think that was one of the questions that you were thinking of. The pole gets knocked down. Well, I only own the arm, and what's going to how soon is Orange and Rockland going to come out? They normally put the pole back up within 3 or 4 days. If not, we're going to be working with them to make sure that they come and put that up. As far as the arm that's now down on the ground, that's your responsibility to put back on the pole. We're going to handle that for you. And the agreement or you could hire your own installer, people that you do electric work for you, make sure they have a bucket truck, make sure that they can get that out there in time. And look into your insurance.
Yeah,
Because
there's
you probably,
Yep.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you're way ahead of that stuff.
Now, is there,
That's an additional fee for that?
Yeah, I think it's about $2 a light. Did I send you the maintenance?
I don't
If I didn't,
think I got that.
I'll forward that to you. But
Okay.
it's something, there's 2 options. One is case by case. As something happens, we come out and we do it for you. And another is you really should, there's an extended life of 20 years here. So we'll come out and periodically go through and see what light might need changing.
That's what I was going to ask you. What is the lifespan of the LED lights, and what is the current replacement cost? I know you can't tell us what it is down the road, but what?
Right. Well, you get 20,000 hours, so you've got many years to move forward with it. I think that's right here. Yeah.
Okay, and what is the current cost of the replacement cost per bulb?
Well, they are warranted, so I think, do I have that here? The first year, most lights fail, LED lights fail within the first year, and the manufacturer covers that cost.
Right, if there's a defect, in other
So,
words.
yeah.
Yours have a 10-year warranty.
10-year warranty, yeah,
Okay.
so, and the photo.
So in 10 years, if
yeah.
any time in the 10 years, it'll,
Right,
okay.
right, so, and the, with the maintenance agreement, it just, plug that out, take that out of the savings, even if you hire
Right.
your own contractor, that you have such a savings here, so make sure you have that in place, because the last thing you want to do is be
That's what you wanna
running
cover.
around to have something.
Yeah.
Page 9.
So.
Yeah, so, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, please ask your
So
question.
I think what impressed me the most about anything, and I think you skipped over it, but the annual net savings over the loan period, which is 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first year, we're saving approximately $52,000 in electric costs.
Right.
There's a loan repayment that we would have on the lights, which is $28,000, creating a cash flow for the town of $24,500. And when you accumulate that over 10 years, that cumulative cash flow represents $326,600 to the town. So if you average that over the 10-year period, you're looking at approximately $32,000
Right.
that,
right.
the town,
It is
will
pretty
be
compelling.
benefiting.
Now, and that's based on, generally, the loans are like 3 to 4%. You might do better. The municipal leasing company, I can have a proposal. I thought I'd have it today, but she didn't get it to me, so send to you so you can see what, the typical rates are depending on your, what your rating is. Again, you could possibly do better. But the point two is you probably, would you want to go out 10 years? You don't have to. So they'll probably give you a 5, 7, or 10. So at some point here, if you do the 7 or the 5, go down to the 5, all that savings is going to be yours. So,
Yes.
Right.
again, that's the math you'll do and you'll figure out, what's best. But that is very compelling. We've also not included the tariffs in this. This is just wattage.
Right.
So that with that savings, you're going to have more savings
Yeah.
with the tariffs, so.
Okay.
So we talked about our approach. We develop a proper inventory where we check all the municipal data, validate with the utility data. It's all, looked at extremely thoroughly. And we determine how ongoing future growth and cost actions, and that's really what we're talking about. There will be increases in the electric costs, that's for sure. We know that, and the tariffs, they'll probably add a tariff to LEDs. And then we, street by street, we validate the street by street, GPS inventory as we're moving forward. We work with you at each step of this process. So after we get our inventory done, we send that, and we ask for a point of contact person. A project manager will be assigned. You'll work together. And what we'll do is anything that we're not assuming anything. You'll validate every finding that we have. When we get the bidding results back, we come and meet with you and we go over the bid results, give our recommendations, but you have the final word of the choice, whether it be the lighting or the installer. And certainly if you have installers that you know and work with, they should be included in on the bid. So this is kind of nice. We have a customized software for our GIS data. When we are project managing the install, as things are going out, we've already got the data located and we have software, so we can follow it. We can follow it above Canada, wherever we are, or here. And you will have access to this too. So you'll see what's going on. You'll know how up to date they are. And we spot check. So whoever the installer is, we don't let them go the whole project without anyone looking at it. We have outside company that we hire, and they'll come and make sure that, you know, what's up there is what should be up there, so. But they're all mostly the reputable installers. You don't have to worry too much. And then the importance of design, the color, temperature, the visual acuity, safety, all of that gets taken into consideration for the design. It's not Orange and Rockland will offer you, we'll come and pop up a light and walk away from it. Now you have an LED and you're saving so much wattage. Without this, you still could have major safety issues. And you will not be able to have the controls, because that's the next step, all the technology, the cameras, 5G, your light poles and your light fixtures are going to be the access to the 5G, and that's another step.
And in the future, the next step is to give us control of dimming the lights in certain areas,
Right.
Adjusting the times.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can do some of that early on. What we like to do is present the proposal for the base, the foundation, we call it. Is that this is the conversion, but if you'd like dimming now, and if you'd like some cameras, that'll all be taken into consideration. You might have like the Village of Haverstraw. They're not going to do it. They're going to go with Orange and Rockland. You think whatever that's how I think they are. But that downtown area in the Village of Haverstraw, Mike is really, he wants those cameras there and the dimming. He wants to be able to keep it bright for a certain amount of time. So that can all be added on. All of our lights are, because they're top tier, they're 7 prongs, like on the top of the light. So anything new, any of this new technology, you don't have to take it down, put a new one up. You just plug in for a lot of this. And
All right.
It's amazing what's
So
happening.
what I would like to do going forward is have everyone read the report,
Right.
make any determinations, let me know if there's any questions, and then I'll reach out to you.
And be happy to come back
Yeah.
to meet everyone, or you and I, as we've been doing.
Okay.
We can do all of that. So, and you want to just go down a little bit more, Valerie, because I know time is of a limit here. Just again, when you read through this, everything is included in these pages here. The investment grade audit, the inventory, the HG calculation, municipal validation, cost savings analysis, photometry, controls package. It's all here, and that's all going to be presented to you once the investment grade audit is done. The tracking updates. You can see how we can see every single light fixture. You'll have a handheld device that you can follow it. So it's a large project, and maintenance service again. Every single light is calculated, and we can track it. So now this is just something to think about. Very brief. This is a new offer we have. It's called My Town, and just what you were talking about, the accessibility. Once that light is there, the light bulb. Now you have 5G. This is. If you go to the next slide, let's see. I pulled this out.
I don't mean to rush it. We got a long agenda though.
Okay. I'm going to leave these here, and you could look into it.
Okay.
But there are several tiles that you will have access to with this My Town. The DPW can plug in, the police can plug in, the residents can plug in, and this can all be connected and read and used for you.
Thanks.
Once those street lights are in. So,
Outstanding.
All right.
So,
Well-
if there are any questions, feel free to, get to me directly through Tony, and thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was excellent.
Thank you.
So sorry.
No, I understand.
It's a big, the other thing, really, really quickly, is we can do community outreach as much as you want. We can hold the seminar here.
Okay.
So use this as the mic.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget your phone.
Okay. We have a couple students back there from the school.
I signed for one.
Okay, I'll.
Anybody else?
Can you, what, if you come up here, do you need a signature? She already signed, how about you? Yeah. Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
Take it as a compliment, though, right? There you go.
All right. Okay. Next item, I'll turn it over to Council Brian Nugent. This is the town consent for Village of Monroe annexation.
Thank you, Supervisor. This resolution concerns a request from the Village of Monroe to annex a parcel of land under General Municipal Law 706. That provision allows a village to annex land that is owned by them, uninhabited, and contiguous with their border. You may recall last year there was a parcel annexed by the village that was a much larger parcel. It was annexed for the purposes of the parks and recreation. And this parcel was a smaller piece next to that they, in our view, could not annex at that time because it wasn't adjoining until they annexed the larger parcel in. So these two sit together. So this is the second parcel, the smaller of those two. And it's Section 1, Block 2, Lot 37. And under GML 706, in order to annex that parcel, the town board must consent and determine that the annexation is in the public interest. So the resolution before you tonight would consent to the annexation of the uninhabited property adjoining the Village of Monroe's boundaries pursuant to General Municipal Law 706 and determine that it's in the overall public interest. If there's any questions, we can address those.
Anybody have any questions? No?
Again, this is just in keeping with what the previous annexation, because it wasn't contiguous at that time, right?
With the village
Yeah, they
of Monroe.
intended to annex this, and I think they wanted to at the time, but it was our view that because the parcel was sort of on the other side of the first parcel, it wasn't really adjoining until they annexed that larger parcel in. So this is sort of the second half of that annexation. And this, unlike a typical annexation, there's no requirement for a public hearing, there's no petitions, because it's a very specific provision that allows a village to annex a parcel that's adjacent to its border in the town. So this would remove it from the town and make it part of the village.
Since it's a municipality, we're not losing any rate of tax dollars on it.
Right.
And it's going to be for parks.
Right. Village of
Yeah,
Monroe.
the purpose is to tie it in, you know, with
Smith Clove?
essential parkland purposes for the village.
Yeah. Village and the town.
Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, I will make a motion, and I will read the resolution. I'll read the therefores. Now therefore be it resolved that Section 1, the above whereas clauses are incorporated herein by reference as if set forth fully. Section 2, the town board hereby consents to the annexation of the uninhabited property adjoining the Village of Monroe's territory boundaries pursuant to General Municipal Law 706 on the basis of the town's board's determination that such annexation is in the overall public interest. Section 3, the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to all right, so I can't read, I'm sorry, I can't make this motion.
Yeah.
I will read it, and you want to?
Yeah.
All right, so Councilman McGinn will make the motion. The town board hereby authorizes town supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 4, the town clerk is hereby directed to provide a certified copy of this resolution to the village clerk of the Village of Monroe as soon as practical. In Section 5, the town board hereby determines that this resolution granting consent to the village board of the Village of Monroe is a type 2 action for secret purposes. In the event that the village issues an order of annexation regarding the property, the town hereby consents to the village being lead agency with respect to any applicable environmental review. Section 6, this resolution shall be effective immediately. So the motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution as read.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Questions? Question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Begin I.
Okay, so moved. So, council, from this point on, the village basically has to not hold,
To adopt the local
yes.
law following it. So the town's part would be done, but
Right.
there is further process that has to occur within the village to complete the annexation.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, section 6.3, which is the 2018 budgetary transfers. You got about 14 or 15 pages in front of you of budgetary transfers. I would like to make a resolution to approve the 2018 budgetary transfers to smooth the expenditures lines so there are no deficit expense lines as per the state controller's office.
I will second that motion.
Any other discussion or questions? I know Helen worked diligently on this
Yes.
for a good day and a half, 2 days to get it done. We're gonna, going forward, we're gonna make adjustments during the year. That was never done in the past. So we will make budget transfers during the year, which we have been doing in order to make this smoother at the end of the year. So with that said, I'd like to call a question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Begin I.
Okay, so moved. So I have this here, and this is a town of wait, wrong one, Rick. Sorry.
6.4.
No, I'm not, no, it's got to do with budgets,
Oh,
and, hold on. So, we've been working with our accounting firm to try to create a summary for each month. And as of 2 days ago, we have created that summary that's before you, which essentially outlines the statement of revenues, expenses, and it will be done for each month. Right now, we have it through February because it was obviously done earlier last week. The numbers there, basically each column, so column A is the 2019 adopted budget. Column B is what we've actually either took in or expended to date. This is obviously through February 28th. Then that third column is the percent of what has transpired to the budget. So if, for example, the part town revenue it represents 1.224964 million, and that was the budget. The actual was $671,137, which represents over 54% of what the percent actual is to budget. And then if the next line is a prorated budget, which represents each month 8.33% of the budget. Essentially, it's 100 divided by 12. Now, the numbers in the general fund and the part town on those line items are skewed because Mary Ellen takes most of her tax dollars in during January and some in February. So those two numbers are not going to represent the actual percent of 16.66. So, I mean, I was on the phone with the accountants tonight, and he explained it to me that this summary relates, especially those 2 pages, to part town sheet and revenues for like the general fund. So we're going to clarify that at the next meeting with respect to the prorated part. Then the next column is the 2018 adopted budget, what we actually spent for the year, and then the variance from the budget in the next column. And there's a percentage based on the variance as well. Now, I will tell you that if you look at the December 31st, 2018 actual column, and you take the total revenue, which was up over $1,080,000, and subtract the total appropriations, which was down from the budget about $800,000, that represents a surplus for last year of approximately $1.769 million. The majority of the surplus with respect to revenue came from the KJ Highway contract and an excess in sales tax that we received from the county. So we basically, and listen, I know that there were departments that, have the mentality of let's save as much as we can. And I know a lot of departments did that, and they were helpful in getting to that surplus. So essentially, into our capital reserve fund, not capital, into our fund balance, there's going to be $1.769 million that goes in. So, anybody have any questions?
Good news.
It's great news.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
Real good news.
we've been working on this for almost 3 months.
Prior predictions
Yeah,
from previous
yeah, exactly.
people in charge of finances, so
Yep.
it's pretty
Well done.
pretty impressive.
Yep. And in the future, I will have these monthly sheets available for the public. So.
We can post, you'll have them posted online.
Yeah, we can post them online too.
Right.
That's not a problem. Okay. Item 6.4, which is God's Grace Ministry. What I would like to do is table that to next meeting. They've actually just discussed a request for use of the town hall facilities, and we're unable to provide that to them right now. But I would like to table it till the April 15th meeting. So I will make a motion to table it.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again,
Okay, so moved. Next item is the bid document preparation for the, it's actually the 2018 CDBG award that we got. We need to approve McGooey Hauser and Etzel preparing the specs for the bid documents related to the funding awarded to the town of Monroe to the 2018 Community Development Block Grants. And that was for the installation of the automatic doors here and the HVAC system at the senior center. What happened was when they met at this CDBG meeting last week, we were informed that due to prevailing wage, it's probably going to be underfunded, and that we would be able to get some more money from them, from McGooey Hauser and Etzel, handling this. I don't know what the cost is associated with it. All I know is that it would be substantially less than what we were able to get as per McGooey Hauser and Etzel. So in order to move forward with that, we do need a resolution. And the total cost that we have is, I think, about $29,000 that we're getting in the two grants.
All right.
So,
Yeah, I'll make that motion for you.
do I have a second?
Second.
Call the question. Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
again,
Okay, so moved. Next item, 6.6, we have a request for building permit application fee refund. Town of Monroe resident Karen Bailey of 102 Linden Lane has requested a refund of her permit application fee as she decided to not legally finish the basement, but instead demo it to how it was when she built the house. As per town code, section 23-14B, she's allowed 50% of the $80 fee that was paid. So I would like to make a motion to refund that.
I'll second it.
All right.
Seconded
Mike's
by
got it.
Councilman McGinn. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Item 6.7, the Conservation Commission has approved Bob O'Neill as a temporary rotating
Rotating.
chairman, which I don't understand that terminology. So I'm going to ask council if we make a motion to approve their approval.
Yeah, I assume they're rotating as maybe they've established that the chair is not gonna be fixed. In other words, it'll rotate on a regular schedule. I don't know
Right.
what that schedule is.
Well, I was at the last conservation meeting, and since Bob is on the road sometimes, they wanted to allow, in case of an absence, whether it's Bob or one of the other members, that it would rotate around, so there would always be a chair present.
Why didn't they
Well,
just designate
An
a
assistant
second?
chair.
Well, they're still short 2 members on the Conservation Commission, so
One
I,
after tonight.
so I think they're hoping that once they get all the board fully, all the members on it again, then they can decide on who's going to be the permanent chair.
Okay.
So they don't want to be caught short by not having somebody available if somebody's out on a road trip.
Did they indicate, in other words, if chairman's not there, Mr. O'Neill?
They did designate how the rotation was going to go through. I don't remember it off the top of
No,
my
they
head,
set
but
up
but they did set up a schedule, so to speak.
So then Bob O'Neill is not a temporary rotating chairman, he's a chairman falling within a rotating system.
Yes,
Yeah,
that would be
I
a
mean,
more
I don't know
accurate.
what they did, but that's
Yeah.
what it sounds like, because
Okay.
otherwise,
Yeah.
why designate one if they're all rotating?
My head is spinning.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve Bob O'Neill as chairman of the Conservation Commission beginning April 2019.
I will second that motion.
Supervisor, maybe we should just, since we have this, say, he's the chairman and that the board authorizes the commission to implement its rotating chair system as necessary, whatever they discuss.
As it sees fit.
Starting with
That's-
Bob O'Neill for.
Starting with Bob O'Neill. That's fine.
Right.
What he said, Mary Ellen. All
And
right?
I will second that.
Seconded by Councilwoman Bingham. Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. So while we're on the Conservation Commission, we did receive a letter from Charlie Pakula, who says, "I'm interested in being a member and serving on the Monroe Conservation Commission. I've been a resident for over 40 years. As many of you know, I owned and operated GNC business in Monroe for many years until I retired in 2013. I've been involved with many civic organizations, including Boy Scouts of America, Greater Monroe Chamber of Commerce. He's volunteered his service to civic and nonprofit organizations such as the Town of Monroe Veterans, Monroe Free Library, Knights of Apithius, Rotary, Lions, and SCORE. And he said he knows his interest in the environment and knowledge of our community organizations would be beneficial to the Monroe Conservation Commission."
I could not agree more.
Okay, you make that motion?
I will make that motion for
And
Charlie
I will
Pakula.
second the motion for Charlie Pakula to become a member
Okay,
of the
and
Conservation
The
Commission.
only other stipulation is he's going to be occupying slot 1, which term ends 12/31/2020. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so move. Item 6.8, New York State Capital Assistance Program. So, we received a $400,000 award from the New York State Capital Assistance Program in Senator Larkin's office. I have been working actually with Senator Skoufis's office and some previous employers of Senator Larkin's office because nobody was able to get anywhere. And finally, it came to a head last week. This grant is supposed to take care of the roads over on Lake Region Boulevard, School Road, and then there's another small road, which I don't remember which one it was. So we have to pass a resolution, and in the form that the state capital assistance program wants. And from what I understand, this is going to be overseen by the DOT. So I have the resolution in front of me. I'm going to read the therefores real quickly. Now, therefore, the town of Monroe, and Mary Ellen, I'll give you this whole sheet, so you don't have to. You don't have to write it. You have it?
Yep.
Okay. Now, therefore, the Town of Monroe Board duly conveyed does hereby resolve that the Monroe Town Board hereby approves the above subject project and is hereby further resolved that the Monroe Town Board hereby authorizes the Town of Monroe to pay in the first instance 100% of the cost of preliminary engineering, right-of-way incidental, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and construction inspection work for the project or portions thereof, and it is further resolved that the sum of $400,000 is hereby appropriated from the,
It's going to be one of the highway funds.
yeah, I would say from,
Stated highway.
Fund to be determined.
highway fund to be determined, and made available to cover the cost of participation in the above phases of the project, and it is further resolved that in the event the full state share costs of the project exceeds the amount appropriated above, the Town of Monroe Board shall convey as soon as possible to appropriate said excess amount immediately upon the notification by the supervisor thereof, and it is further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Monroe be and is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, or reimbursement requests for state aid on behalf of the Town of Monroe with New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the advancement or approval of the project, and providing for the administration of the project and the municipality's sponsors first instance funding of project costs and permanent funding of the local share of federal aid and state aid eligible project costs and all project costs associated within appropriations therefore that are not so eligible. And it is further resolved that the certified copy of this resolution be filed with the New York State Commissioner of Transportation of the State of New York by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the project between the Town of Monroe and the State of New York. And it is further resolved this resolution shall take effect immediately.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution as read by the supervisor.
I would
Second.
like to second that motion.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Bingham seconded it. The only other discussion I'll add is that Christine Rodriguez, and I felt bad for her because she was working hard to get answers, and nobody could give us answers at the state. Finally we got the answers, but Christine in Senator Scoofers' office was as pleasant and as diligent as anyone could get, so.
Very good. That's great.
Yeah.
Great to hear.
Yep. So, call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. So, Councilman McGinn, would you mind reading the next resolution for firearms? Now, do you have the updated one?
I believe so. I guess when I read it, you'll know if it's not or. Is there another one besides?
The one we received tonight?
There was two that
That's
Yeah,
it?
That's the one.
Okay.
I asked it to change one thing, so it included the entire town hall property.
Yeah, if the top of your resolution says on town hall property, that's.
Okay.
Okay. And this resolution, as the supervisor had stated earlier, is kind of in response to what occurred here and outside of town hall last Thursday. Obviously we respect the right of people with permits to carry firearms, but I think out of an abundance of caution, we should not have not have them bringing them into town hall or onto town hall property. I think it's just problematic. Had this individual discharged a round, it could have hurt people inside town hall, not to mention the individuals that were allegedly attacking him. So based on that, I will skip through the whereases and go for the therefores. So therefore be it resolved, or actually the resolution is named Resolution Restricting the Possession of Firearms and Other Dangerous Weapons on Town Hall Property. Therefore be it resolved that Section 1, the whereas clauses are incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, the town, through the town board, hereby declares that no individual except state and federal law enforcement officers, active and retired, and peace officers as defined by the New York State Criminal Procedural Law, acting in the course of their official duties, shall have in his or her possession any firearm, including rifles, shotguns, or other dangerous weapons, including but not limited to knives, daggers, razors, imitation pistols, explosive device or substance, lethal or debilitating chemical or gas agents while in or entering into town hall or upon town hall property for the security, safety, protection, and well-being of the public and the employees and its property. Section 3, the town clerk and any other official or employee as directed by the supervisor is hereby authorized to post a sign outside the entrance of town hall and at any other appropriate location on town hall property stating firearms with or without permit, guns or dangerous weapons or substances are prohibited on town hall property by order of the town board of the town of Monroe. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. The question of adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on a roll call, which resulted in the following. So I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution as that I just read.
I'll second that. Any other discussion?
You have here, besides the dangerous explosives, you put chemical or gas. I would just also like to say that also would include pepper spray, because some people do carry pepper spray. Correct?
Yeah, I believe that would be,
know about all that.
yeah, I believe that would be covered under that,
Right,
that clause.
because that can also be, I've been exposed to
Yep.
more than my share, but
Excuse me, please?
but-
No shouting out, thank you.
I'll answer that later on. But, the pepper spray, if you have a reaction to it, it can be quite lethal. So, people that do carry the pepper spray, they should be reminded that this will include that, as well as personal tear gas. Just wanted to bring that out. It's not just firearms and knives.
Okay.
Okay.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. That's it. Old business. 7.1, Board of Ethics appointment, amendment to the resolution with regard to George Tanner's appointment. I'll make a motion to amend the resolution for the appointment of George Tanner to the Board of Ethics, which we made at the last meeting, to include the term expiration date of 12/31/20. Just so everyone understands, well, we need a second first.
I'll
Second.
second.
As part of the new ethics code, the terms will change to 3 years rather than the current 5 years. And the Board of Ethics will submit to the town suggested changes for the expiration of the adjustments from 5 years to 3 years. So, anybody else? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Okay, public comment. I remind everyone that public comment is limited to items that are on the evening's agenda.
Sharon Shear?
And you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, I haven't been here for a year, for good reason. The last time I was here, I was not treated so hot. My name is Sharon Shear. I grew up in Monroe Woodbury. I went to high school here. I graduated in 1979. I am a person that has some horses in the game. I moved away, I came back, and I feel like it's the frickin' Twilight Zone. I have met with the Conservation Commission several times. After my last meeting, we talked about the beavers, so today we're going to stick to the beavers. I have swan issues, I have other issues, but today we're only going to stick with the beavers. I met with the Conservation Commission. Ward invited me. I was asked to take you all to a private hike up to the Monbassia Park, and I did so. I noted there was no beaver activity after the trapping, and I was with you. You know, if you felt like there was overpopulation, that was great. For 7 months, I hiked that area. I found no beavers left. You did a full extermination without the public's consent. I have now, since that time, I've tried to work with you. I've met with every homeowner that views that lake. Nobody knows there are beavers there. Did no one on this board think it was an important thing to talk to everybody that has a view of that park? The beautiful Monbassia Park for over 40 years that have been a beautiful, it's called a dry deadwood forest. And it's also 200 acres of natural forest. It is not supposed to be preened. It is not supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be natural. And what's in that park? And I'm going to be here every month for the next 6 months.
Excuse me,
Watch
please.
your language, please.
Please
Okay, I
refrain
can
from
watch my
language.
language, but you know what? You exterminated the beavers. You said you were doing a population control. I've hiked those woods. I found no evidence. Not only has the Conservation Committee, and I have documents proving that there are no beavers left, but you have a dam now that's in breach. When the dam breaches, you're going to lose, I don't even know how many thousands of gallons of water, but you're going to lose their view. And just to let you know, I contacted every single homeowner, and I continue to do that, and I will continue to do that until you stop trapping the beavers, and they belong there. And for 40 years, there's never been a flood. Let me tell you what, I got letters coming from every single homeowner that says not only has there not been a flood, but they don't want trees. Did you concern yourselves? You become a Nazi freaking board. You have no, oh, you shut me down.
Listen, if
You
you're gonna,
can't,
if
you
you're
can't
gonna
shut me
make,
down. It doesn't matter, because
if
it's
you're
already
gonna,
done.
if you're gonna make
It doesn't
accusations,
matter, because
George,
I've.
can you shut it down right now? If you're gonna make if you're gonna make accusations like that,
What?
I'm gonna ask you to be removed.
Well, remove me.
Co-
Please call the police. 'cause
No.
they're
Oh
on
my
Channel
God.
12, and then we'll
Step
really-
back from the table.
What? I don't have
Step
time.
back
I
from the
don't know.
table.
By the way, pepper spray,
Ma'am,
it works.
ma'am, you're done speaking now.
Yeah.
Please
Yes,
have a seat.
you're
You
done.
are
You're
done.
done. You're
You
done.
are done speaking.
Thank you. Mike Goldstein, citizen of the town. The fact, Mr. Cardone, that you take umbrage with myself and Mr. Ward for emphasizing the words of justice for all is beyond the pale. That is only taking, because it says with liberty and justice, and we emphasize for all. If you don't like it, why don't you move to a country where you won't have those rights? Then the rest of the speech, I won't even try, because I wanted to talk about other annexations, Palm Tree and Seven Springs. Will I be allowed to start on that, or are you going to stop me as soon as I start? Yes? No? 3 members of the current town board owe an apology to all the residents of the unincorporated portion of the town. These members did nothing to stop the leadership of United Monroe from negotiating a peace treaty to form a new town, Palm Tree. Not only did they not interfere with the negotiations, they provided a public forum to sell the proposed settlement at a townwide election. Supposedly, Curious Yoel would not engage in any further annexation attempts for 10 years. The village of Curious Yoel just filed a petition to annex 70 acres on Larkin Drive. The petition, I believe, is an attempt to prevent the dissident party in Curious Yoel from forming their own village of Seven Springs. The original peace treaty ignored the rights of the dissident faction. The Orange County Legislature is also complicit in this fiasco. The legislature participated in the negotiation as well. What rights do the residents of Monroe have to rectify this situation? Will the leadership of United Monroe sue to enforce the negotiation clause preventing new annexation requests? Somehow, I do not think so. The only winners in this mess is the new town of Palm Tree and the executive board of United Monroe, who negotiated protection from being sued by Curious Joel for the attorney fees incurred in fighting the appellate court case started by UM to stop the original planned annexation. The residents of Monroe can only expect additional lawsuits and costs defending the new annexation requests.
Lorraine Loning?
Hi, Lorraine Loning, Village of Monroe. This is going to be boring because I just want to talk about the budget. I had it on my list here, and I'm glad you actually brought it up. I've been asking for a while now if we could have how money is spent and brought in available to the public online. This is a good step. I'd like it if it was live, updated weekly or something like that. That would be good. I do have a question about how expenses are booked.
Ma'am, someone's talking right now. Could you step outside? They'll be here. Don't worry about it. Go outside, please. There's someone talking. Don't be rude.
I'm sorry, because she needs to be a board member, because you guys don't know what you're doing.
Thank you.
You got one vote, Lorraine.
Wow.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if expenses, are they booked the month that the goods or services are received or when the invoice comes? That's just, sorry, budgets I think are cool. I've been doing them for many years. So that's, and when you talk about budget transfers like you did earlier to smooth budget lines, is someone keeping track of this so that next year during the budget process, we don't encounter the same thing, so that if a line should be bigger, make it bigger next year so that we don't end up having to smooth it out again year after year after year. So I'd hope someone would be monitoring that. And then the last thing I have is you made a resolution earlier about overtime for highway people for the e-cycling. You didn't mention how many hours of overtime that would be. I thought maybe that would be prudent to put in like a cap, how many hours. And that's it this time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. I have a public announcement to make. Being diagnosed a couple years ago with early onset Parkinson. And over the years, before Mr. Goldstein joined as my aide, Rick knows, I know Mary knows, I've had a variety of people who've been in this position. And as time went on, the doctors told him, you have to stop going. It's just too much stress. And that's, the good news is about 30 years, it'll kill me. I'll be 100 and something. The bad news, well, the bad news is my doctor, unlike the other doctors, told me not to stop going to town board meetings. Keep active. So that's, you'll have to put up with me for a little bit longer. Still waiting for the revisions on the zoning with regard to the builder's acre. I know we can pass a new law or update a law in a matter of months, but we can't do that. And this board did overdue diligence, de-dolifying the town. But it could do, this other law is nonpartisan. It affects everybody from all political persuasions, ethnic groups, whatnot. I think you need to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, Supervisor.
Anyone else? No?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, come on up.
Hello. My name is Ty Conway. I live in Harriman. So my only question is, like, what are the changes that are going to be made? I know you mentioned that you passed the motion to no longer allow like guns and any weapons in town hall. So are there going to be like any security measures in terms of like officers? Like, are you going to have to like walk through what do you call it? When
Metal
you-
detectors.
Yeah.
I'll answer that. We answer after everyone speaks.
Oh, okay. Then
All
that's
right?
Any other questions regarding that, or?
No, that's it.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
That's good.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Here's the, you wanna?
Mike, go first.
I go first? Okay.
Should someone go out there with him? All right.
Mike, go ahead. Take it away. I mean,
No, I just waiting for,
oh.
okay, ma'am, regarding what you had just said, we are looking at additional security measures. We just acquired Town Hall within the last month, 6 weeks. We're looking at different security systems, panic alarms, things to make Town Hall safer. Whether we would be doing metal detectors or wanding and things like that, or security officers, we haven't reached a conclusion on that. Listen, this was an isolated incident. I mean, it was kind of a strange event that has not really happened here before or elsewhere in the county at town halls. So, the one thing we don't want to do is overreact and make town hall so restrictive that the citizens can't come in and do their business. We don't want to turn it into an armed camp or have it inaccessible for people. But we are looking as part of the renovating town hall and making it into renovating the old synagogue and turning it into a town hall. There will be things. Of course, when the court is added to the building, because that is part of the plan, that the town court will be there, all the normal security related procedures that the Office of Court Administration mandates that towns follow with town courts, metal detectors, and all the things that we do now would be applicable to the court. So we're looking at it, and we'll come up with something that strikes a good balance between accessibility and security for the people that work there. I can't respond to Sharon because she left, but on one hand she said we killed all the beavers, but on the other hand we're still trapping them. So I don't know, we'd be trapping if we killed them all. We have not killed all the beavers. I forget
still
the yeah, they're still there.
There's still
I forget
beavers
what the
there.
number was. I think it was 4 or 5. It is town property. There was damage being caused. We went all through this last year. You have to you have to control. There has to be species control for these types of things. I don't know why she's so wound up, but whatever the reason is, it is. And but all the beavers have not been killed. That's a fallacy, and she kind of said it herself. And she said, "Oh, the trapper's up there trapping beavers." Actually, I've been up there, and an Eagle Scout just did a great project up there, redoing the trail, which was in really need of it, and there was evidence of fresh.
Without a doubt.
So it. Listen, I understand she's an animal lover. I'm an animal lover. My wife was a vet tech. We have animals at home, so she's a little off base and definitely can't carry on like that. Mr. Goldstein, listen, I know you're opposed to the creation of Palm Tree. I know that you're opposed to that's well documented. But that separation occurred with over 75% of the people in this town voting for it. So it wasn't just something that 3 people on the town board. Listen, this isn't a back and forth. I didn't interrupt you, but
I didn't interrupt you. I didn't say anything.
I know. I thought you were about to say something, so I'm just paying you the same courtesy that we paid you up here. So these other things that came of it, listen, you know what, we have, we will look at each request that comes our way and with our legal counsel, decide whether they are legitimate or not. There's, you know, the village law of the state of New York is what it is. And we'll deal with it as it comes up. But again, by an overwhelming majority, the people of this town decided that's what they wanted. All right? There were public hearing upon public hearing held about it by the county, by everyone else. I know you're opposed to it, but you know, the narrative that you have here, that 3 people and UM made this whole thing, drove some type of train that made everyone do this. It's a lot of smart people in this town, and they all looked at the facts, and they knew what the facts were, and they knew that the potential of village creation by someone outside the village of KJ could happen was a possibility, and it was discussed in the public hearings. So, you know, again, we'll take these petitions as they come up, and hopefully people don't engage in violence like they did the other day to prevent them from being delivered. Ward, it's in progress. The planner has it. He's working on it. You know from doing, I believe you're on a couple of comprehensive plan boards that were looking at it over the years. These things, it takes a little time to do them, but we are working on it, and we realize it's something that has to be rectified. And it's not, you know, it is bipartisan. It doesn't, we don't know what, you know, it has nothing to do with party. It's really something that was done by the planner when we did the plan. We realized afterwards it needs to be rectified. So we're working on it. It'll get done. And that's all I got.
So, yeah,
And you know
I'm
what,
speechless.
Ms. Long, Tony, I know he does the financial stuff, so I know he would comment. You know, so I'm going to take a pass on that if you don't mind.
Ward, I'm glad your doctor said keep coming to the meetings. It's not Monroe unless I don't hear "for all" very loud. So it's kind of what makes Monroe Monroe. So I don't mind. It's to me it's what gives, I guess, our meetings a little bit of flavor.
That was a lot of flavor.
Yeah, well, we've been used to a heck of a lot more flavor.
That was my first dose of flavor.
Things have
a lot more favorable than that in the past.
Yeah, that's just a little. We're used to a lot of spice. But that being said, Ward, I'm glad that you still show up. Mr. Goldstein, I'm glad you also show up. It's good to have the voices out there. My feeling is that when we can have somebody point out things in a different direction, that's always a welcome spot. That's what democracy is all about. So with that, as long as it's kept in a civil manner, I have no problem with it at all. Believe me, I've been called a lot worse. So thank you both for all you do and coming to all the meetings.
Nazis pretty heavy.
Mary?
Okay. I know.
Oh, and Lorraine too. Lorraine, well, Lorraine, you don't have 30 years of going to meetings like Wood, so.
Only 25.
Only 20 years. So, thank you all and for the people that show up to all of the meetings, or damn near all of them every month throughout the year. Thank you. It's very important that we have community involvement.
Yeah, piggyback on that, I agree. It's very important to have community involvement. And I don't take umbrage to the way people enunciate the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody is an individual, and some people will express vehemently, and some people are mellow, so I take no umbrage. Just as the national anthem, there's artistic interpretation. You know, some artists can sing the song in 2 minutes, and some are close to 4 minutes. So, but the main thing is that people are saying the pledge, and that's really appreciated. I agree. Mike McGinn has been working with the planner on getting the zoning wording corrected. it does seem to be impacting not only the ZBA, but also the planning board. So we are aware of the problem, and unfortunately, it's not a quick, easy fix, as some people have offered suggestions, but it's kind of like opening a can of worms. You know, you try one thing, and then you say, but now it's going to impact other things. So please be patient. As I said, I know Mike has been working with the planner. Security measures. Again, that was a very unique incident that happened at Town Hall. You know, we also want people at certain times of year come to pay their taxes. There's a lot of foot traffic going in, so we will definitely find the best method. I work at a hospital, and we've updated our procedures as to when visitors come into the building. So it is a very different time, and just be patient with us. We will find something that works and is not outrageous and intrusive. And I think that's about all I have to say. Oh, the budget. We do vouchers about twice a month, so I don't think we can get you a weekly kind of update. I think a monthly is probably about the best we can do, simply because the work that's involved in preparing that summary. Maybe after a year, when we've gotten this under our belt better, then maybe we can look at it a bi-monthly. But for right now, I think a monthly is the way we'll have to go. And that's all.
Listen, I don't know what was said while I was outside, so if I repeat.
We left the Lorraine's comments, Miss Loney's comments for you.
Okay, well.
Everything else was covered,
All right,
unless
so-
you want to recover it.
No, did you say that we did install cameras in Town Hall on Friday?
Yes, well, yeah, but that was stated, but he said the
Okay.
long term is we're coming up with a security plan.
The only two comments I have is, you know, when Mr. Goldstein, when the negotiations were happening with Preserve Hudson Valley, it wasn't United Monroe, it was Preserve Hudson Valley. I was called by Chairman Brescia, who asked me to join in the negotiations, and who also told me that Mr. Doles would be asked to be in the negotiations since he was a supervisor. And I told him that there was absolutely no way that anything was going to get done with him being involved. So at that point, they dropped it. So we were asked to go in. We were asked to be a part of it. I have reiterated this on numerous occasions, and you keep bringing up the same stuff. So there's no truth to the fact that we didn't want to be involved and we didn't want to contribute. As far as the invoices, Lorraine, everything's booked when the invoice is received. Yep. And with respect to the overtime, it's approximately 4 to 5 hours. But I'm going to tell you, there's probably at least a 40 to 50% savings from what we would have been paying the e-recycle company, because we're doing it this way because they backed out. So, and that's basically all I have. The only thing I will ask is that someone make a motion authorizing me to sign the complaint.
Yeah.
Supervisor, if you don't mind, I'll state the motion and somebody can adopt it. As the board may be aware, under the town board rules that were enacted, Town Board Rule 22, if somebody is disruptive of the meeting, they can be asked to leave or cease the behavior, and if they do not, that charge of disorderly conduct may be pursued against the individual, and pursuant to the rules, the town board needs to designate somebody to sign that complaint or the deposition in this case. So we need a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute any documents necessary to bring a complaint, disorderly conduct, and or trespass against the individual who disrupted the meeting this evening.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
No? Absolutely. I was going to make,
Wait,
you beat me to
Rick is
it.
speechless.
You beat me to it. Go ahead.
Mary, anything?
No.
No? Okay. I call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Again,
Okay, so moved. We need to go,
yeah, make a
into-
motion.
yeah.
Executive attorney-client
Yep,
litigation.
litigation, I'll second that. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Mine.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience there.
Sorry for the,
Row.
yeah.
We're on.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session back into regular session.
I'll second that.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Oh, McGinn, aye.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our April 1st, 2019 meeting.
I would like to second that motion.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardona.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.